Hello, viewers. My name is Zach Hardy, and this is my review of USW Wednesday Night Intensity from September 2nd, 2015, as well as my thoughts on Capital Carnage and the matches or whatever from 2015, uh, or Capital Carnage 2015 from August 30th, 2015. Um, my overall thoughts on Capital Carnage, I think it was executed well. I think it was treated as one of the big four pay-per-views. I think it was appreciated, and I think a lot of hard work and effort was put into booking it. I don't think it was necessarily the best strategic planning in total, but whatever. Kickoff match, Capital Carnage 2015 International Championship. Ash defends the title against Dwayne Porter. Physical match. A lot of high flying and technical maneuvers, and Ash comes away with the victory. I think it was a good idea. It plays out into what we get for Wednesday Night Intensity, and I guess what we're going to get at Tap Out, and not Tap Out, Top Rope. I'm looking forward to it, I guess. Second match, 2-on-1 handicap match, to Blackout defeat Titanfall via disqualification. In my opinion, I like the call of ending the match in disqualification and giving the Blackout the win, because it shows that not only is Titanfall, not made to look weak, but the Blackout is still, they win the match, and Titanfall is not hurt. Sorry, hold on. Sorry, there was a fly there. But Titanfall was not made to look weak, with the Blackout getting the victory. Disqualification victory. Blackout looks strong. Titanfall isn't made to look weak, and that's what I'm going with. So I think it was a good call to end this match on disqualification, as long as they don't end all matches on disqualification. And I'm hoping that we get some more development out of, let's say, I hope we get more development out of the Blackout, since even though they are a returning tag team, they do have history. They're just getting back into the swing of things. So give them a little time to develop. Don't immediately send them into the USW Tag Team Championship picture like you promised. And I don't think we're going to get that after all. I think we're going to get some development, and I'll get to that in Wednesday Night Intensity review. I'm just looking forward to what they do with the Blackout, and hopefully they book them the right way. And I see what they're starting to do with Titanfall now after Intensity. So in the third match, Indigo Reaction defeated Gringo and Fernandez. Simple match. Didn't really do anything except for the fact that Gringo and Fernandez then walked out of the audio, walked away from the ring, and quit. They both just quit, took their bags, went home. That's interesting. It shows to me that Gringo and Fernandez are becoming the sort of heels that when they pick up the victory, they feel all high and mighty. And when they feel like they've lost something, they need to go away and they need to recollect their shit. Damn it, I almost got it. I almost got the fly. They need to recollect their shit and then get right back into the swing of things and right back from where they were last at. I don't know what this necessarily does for the feud. If there is a feud, hold on. Shit, I lost him. Sorry. Hold on. If you see me swap my computer screen, that's me trying to kill the fucking bug. Anyway, pest. I don't know what this necessarily does for a feud. I don't want to see an Indigo Reaction versus Gringo and Fernandez feud, because I think it's pointless. I don't think it'll do much for them, or for either perform, or for either teams. And I think it'd just be very lackluster. And this year has been very lackluster for major feuds. Out of the major feuds we've gotten this year, maybe you can put Morbid and Washington in candidate position. Maybe Zach Hardy and Majigeta, if I were going to throw myself in there, which I would assume I'd be thrown in there at some point. I'd be thrown into some kind of category. Everybody is. Almost everybody is. I don't know. Cannon and Dustin Raymond, maybe. Yeah, it's just been a very lackluster year. Maybe James and Seth, if you want to consider a mid-card feud to be one of the best. But that's all I can really think of. Maybe, I don't know, maybe Alexander Rotten and Lone Wolf. Lone Wolf and Majigeta, it looks like it has the chance of being a very good feud, but it's just been lackluster this year, which is kind of disappointing. So right now, to me, 2014 still stands out as USW's top year. I'll get into that, near the end, the very end of the year when I get into my probably last intensity review or whatever. But yeah, we'll see where this goes or where they take it from here. Interesting. Fourth match on Capital Carnage's card, Dustin Raymond's Open Challenge. Amor with her nasty defeated Dustin Raymond. And I want to get into what happened around there. The reason why is because it plays into what goes on throughout the night. Alexander Rotten meets Amor and Hernastley backstage, and he actually, beforehand, he walked up to Hernastley and Amor and told them that he wanted them to be behind him when he fought Western Light, and then, excuse me, if they needed him, he'd be there for Hernastley's Extreme title match. But Alexander Rotten meets Amor and Hernastley. It tells them that the only reason why he did not help Amor was because Hernastley's match is more important. And Amor agrees. It's for a championship, whereas Amor's match was just another filler match. But still, I guess it was somewhat interesting playing out of the card. I don't know. But Dustin Raymond loses an Open Challenge, and yeah. Fifth match on the card. Morbid defeats Yo-Yo Joe via disqualification. I'm not so sure that disqualification was the best way to end this match, but I see why they did it, and the whole reason why was because Morbid sets up for the pile driver, lights go out, flicker on and off, Washington gets in the ring, hit Morbid with the monument, excuse me, then called the disqualification. Washington then hit the referee down with, I think, an elbow to the face or something, or an elbow to the skull or something like that, and then walked away. So we get Washington back. I don't know, I think he hurt his leg or something like that, or his arm. I don't fucking know. But he was out, so Morbid was just put into this feud with Yo-Yo Joe. I'm fine with it. And that's it. And then, shit. Oh, and then, whatever plays out between, or we get play out between Kyle Reese and Zach Hardy, myself. Telling myself to meet Kyle Reese in his office tonight because there's someone who wants to meet him. It doesn't turn out very well. And then we get into the sixth match, where Lone Wolf, fucking shit, fucking cunt sack. Shit. I go all the way back down here. Where am I? Okay. Lone Wolf defeats Majigeta via submission. I think it was an interesting way to end the match, mostly due to the fact that it tells a story that Lone Wolf can not only pin Majigeta for a win, but he can also make him give up and tap out and submit and push him to his limits, to the point where he just exceeds his limits and has to either suffer the consequences, whether it be injury or whether it be embarrassment, whatever it may be. And then it's pretty much Majigeta throughout the match, Majigeta is taking control of Lone Wolf, finding a way to deflect every move that he's got. With Lone Wolf getting the exception of a few moves in before hitting, maybe a combination of strikes and then a couple grapples, and then Majigeta takes him back down. He starts taking the fight slower, which shows more development to Majigeta's character. He gets cocky the more that he's in the driver's seat, and he starts to take it slower to really pick apart his opponents, which is interesting. And then Lone Wolf just got him into the howl, and Majigeta tapped out. Lone Wolf kicked him out of the ring, walked up the ramp, backstage area. That's it. Then we have a pointless interview with Western Light. And then we have the seventh match, which is a no disqualifications match for the Extreme Championship. Hernastley with Amor defeated the defending Extreme Champion Crimson Red via pinfall or something like that. Crimson Red looks for the spin dive, which is, I don't know, a fucking 360 spin, like cradle spin or whatever from the top rope. And Amor distracts the referee. Alexander Rotten appears out of nowhere, throws Crimson Red into a case. Knee to the gut. Crimson Red off the top rope, knee to the gut. Case, that's it. Referee gets it. 1, 2, 3. That's it. Hernan Astley is your new Extreme Champion. I'm fine with that. That's fine. Moving on. Nothing much to say about that. Then we have Lone Wolf being interviewed, and then Majigeta attacked him and hit the decapitator into the lighting equipment, leading to Lone Wolf being carted off to the hospital or something like that. Cool. Which just shows that Majigeta, he can get cocky, he can get full of himself, and if he wins, that's great. He'll just keep that momentum, and not only will he keep momentum, but he'll also gloat about it, which just shows character, that douchebag heel type shit. And Lone Wolf beats him, or anybody beats him, and he's not happy, and he wants to gain vengeance in any way humanly, physically possible, which is perfectly fine with me. Cool. We're going to the 8th match. Simon Saint defeats Cannon. If I did a prediction video, I would have said I wanted Simon Saint to win. The reason why is because Cannon's just been getting torn apart over and over and over and over again these past few weeks with multiple losses, and it's starting to really take his toll on him, and then he loses this match, gets back up, starts kicking the ropes, flipping out, breaking the commentator's table, ripping apart the barricades, whatever. Leaves the ringside area before walking through the crowd and up the stairs, leaving the Coliseum. Doesn't walk through the fucking stage, or doesn't walk to the back, walks or goes over, well, not even over, but through his hole that he made in the steel barricades, walks at the crowd, leaves. Doesn't take his bags, nothing. Doesn't take any shit with him. Fine by me. Shows the problem that I have right now is that Cannon's character and what he did at Capital Carnage were both played off before him. Cannon's character is he's been losing multiple matches when in big win case scenarios, trying to avenge his losses, and he just keeps losing. And that's the same that Washington had before Cannon started doing that, when he kept losing to more. But the only difference is Cannon keeps losing to other opponents, multiple opponents, and Washington lost to that one. And so they're both being broken down, they're both being tormented, and they both left via storyline, and more than likely we'll come back with a vengeance, and we'll just go all ape shit. We'll go all ape shit when they return, seizing to just cause havoc wherever they land. And then what Cannon did at Capital Carnage, went home, walked through the crowd, had enough, left. Gringo and Fernandez did the same thing earlier in the night. So the two big things, the two major factors in what Cannon's storyline has developed have been used before, which makes me feel, this seems like too confusing. They're going to intertwine this with Gringo and Fernandez, or it's going to be too similar, and then they're going to symbolize that whole character that he has. He's losing, he's being broken down. They're going to symbolize that to Washington, and it's just going to get confusing. And I mean, it seems like Cannon's character is being dragged out by multiple performers on the roster, which is sad. Whatever. But that's it. We get into the 9th match, USW Tag Team Championship match. USW Tag Team Championships match. Ezra Kills and Maggie Franklin defend the tag team titles against the Martin Brothers, and they walk out with the belts. Hills and Franklin walk up the ramp, making it seem like they weren't satisfied. Walking up the ramp, and when you see a performer walking up the ramp, you'll know just then and there their facial description. They thought this was too easy. They were pushed to their limits, or they thought this was too easy, or they were pushed to their limits, or they've just gained new respect for their opponents or opponent, or they're rethinking their ways, or they're thinking, what's the future hold? Or they're thinking, what's the past hold? They're thinking, what do we do now? Just so many facial descriptions you can tell, or you can just so many ways you can, or so many things you can be able to take from just one simple facial expression when the camera points at you. And this one made it seem as though they weren't satisfied. And when it came to Wednesday Night Intensity, that point where that theory has been proven. And I leave you with that until I get back into the Wednesday night, or until I get into the Wednesday Night Intensity review. We get to the 10th match, which is the 3-ways match. Double XL versus Zach Hardy versus Capital. And Zach Hardy myself beats Double XL and Capital via submission. I moved out of the way of the above ground. Capital hit the Capital punishment on Double XL. I locked Capital into a crossface, and I caused Capital to submit. As I am holding my hand up in the corner or whatever, lights go out, ring fills with smoke. Weiler appears from underneath the ring, hits Hardy with the Y, and then hits a 450 splash on me, of course, before posing above me. So if you're not familiar with what those are, and you don't watch Ferocity, let me tell you what those are. Well, let me tell you what this is first. Weiler is pretty much I don't know how to describe a different nutcase, but he's a nutcase in a different way from Enigma. Whereas Enigma was aimed towards violence and destruction and would do he doesn't really think twice about his actions, just goes with what's in the moment. Weiler thinks and plans ahead and he wants violence and he wants destruction and he's aimed on hurting people, just like Enigma was. Except that the key difference was Weiler is always thinking ahead of his opponents, strategizing how he's going to fulfill his destiny or fulfill his goal, which makes it even more eerie, the fact that you can get in your mind. So now you play off this, oh, Weiler is Enigma, or Weiler is the new Enigma, and Zach Hardy was Enigma. So now Weiler is trying to take that torch from Zach Hardy, but in a way, he's trying to take that torch from Zach Hardy, or in the way, he's taking Zach Hardy's torch from the Enigma side of him. So Weiler is trying to take away that torch from Enigma. Now that Enigma is no longer there, Weiler wants to become the main Punisher, if anything. And the Y is pretty much a spear from when somebody's turned their back to them. Instead of running at them full head or running at the front of them for a takedown, you run in the back, which is just pretty much your blind side. You can't see in the back of your head, of course, unless you're magic or your sense, any of your shit. Sorry. Any sense is just highly perceived or highly developed. There's really no way to see that. So it's always a blind spot from behind you. And then a 450 splash is pretty much, just imagine a front flip, landing on your feet. Just imagine instead of landing on your feet, you landed on the stomach. So it's a full front flip, and then I guess if you want to call it a frog splash, if you want to consider anything like that. So I think a story can be played off very well here. Going to the 11th match, which is James versus Seth, and James beats Seth. So this, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is now 2-1 in favor of Seth. I think Seth now has the advantage over James, which comes into play on intensity. Sorry, excuse me. I'm fine with that. I don't know. I think James definitely needed a win. I think Seth has won enough. I don't think Seth will be earning anything negative from losing to James once or twice. So that's fine. That's it. So we get to the 12th match, which is for the Blue Belt Championship, your co-main event of the evening. Anarchy defends Blue Belt Championship against Prophecy, and Anarchy beats Prophecy, retains the Blue Belt Championship by submission. So Prophecy, the master of the limb lock, tries to lock in the limb lock. Anarchy locks him into an altered leg lock, of course, because he has one arm free, so you got to take down one leg and then get yourself mobile enough to get some sort of progressive finisher or progressive submission hold in, and gets him in an altered version of leg lock, more like an inverted leg lock, causing Prophecy to submit and giving Anarchy the victory. So Prophecy taps out. The master of the limb lock taps out to a basic leg lock, which is interesting. And from Capital Carnage going into Wednesday Night Intensities was just a lot of shit that was done right, transitioned right, going into, I think, top rope, and there was a lot of stuff that just made little sense. But we get into the 13th match, which was the main event, and I haven't reviewed Intensity in a while, but the stipulation has been made, or was made, where the main event, where the loser must vacate their championship. So if Alexander Rotten lost to Western Light, he would lose the USW Championship. If Western Light lost to Alexander Rotten, he would lose the World Heavyweight Championship. And of course, with the help of Amor and Hernasli, Alexander Rotten defeats Western Light via submission, and Western Light vacates the World Heavyweight Championship belt. Western Light then traps Alexander Rotten into the lantern. Hernasli and Amor run down and stand on the apron, leading to Rotten moving out of the lantern. Because Western Light is peering down at Hernasli and Amor, which gives Alexander Rotten time to get out of it and locks Western Light into the rot. Trying to fight it, staying competing. Western Light stays in it for about a good 45 seconds as the crowd just continues to chant louder and louder and louder until he taps out and the crowd is just devastated. They don't want to see Alexander Rotten as a USW champion anymore, which is a good thing because it proves that he's doing his character, or he's using his character well, but or that he's a good heel as well. Western Light taps out, and Rotten Hernasli and Amor raise Alexander Rotten's hands. It looks like we've got a new somewhat authority figure here, comparison to the WWE. It looks like we actually have a stable now, not just a tag team, but a stable in the likes of the USW champion Alexander Rotten, the Extreme champion Hernasli, and Amor. Alexander Rotten takes both belts, hands Kyle Reese the World Heavyweight Championship belt, and at the top of the stage, he puts it into a glass case, which is pretty much a significant way to say whoever is gunning for this title has to take it out of this glass. Well, if you want the title, you are going to get it right out of a glass case, right off of a velvet sleek blanket or whatever the fuck you got it, cushion, whatever. You will earn it. You will have to earn it. This is a prize. You are now gunning for this prize. You have to earn it. Good luck. So that's interesting. Thoughts on the pay-per-view is fine. 3 stars. Cool. Now we get into Wednesday Night Intensity, and I'll try to make this a little bit quicker because I know I should probably get some sleep. Because it's about to be 1 a.m. and I don't want to wake up at like fucking 2 or 3 tomorrow. Anyway, match number 1. We opened up the show with Alexander Rotten walking out to the ring with Amor and the new Extreme Champion Hernasli, talking about how he defeated Western Light, took away what Western Light loved most, told the crowd he has no challenger for Top Rope 2015, leading to Kyle Reese appearing on the Motiontron and telling everyone on the roster that he is giving an opportunity to anyone who wants to challenge Rotten for the USW title at Top Rope 2015. Whoever wants to face Rotten has to show themselves by the end of the night in order to get a championship match. I'm starting to feel as though we're going to book Alexander Rotten as a powerhouse in USW, which I really like because Alexander Rotten is a powerhouse. He is a man to beat. If you can beat Alexander Rotten cleanly, then that's just impressive. And I like how they're booking it that way. And now, I mean, Alexander Rotten, since winning the USW Championship, has faced Dwayne Porter, Western Light, Lone Wolf, he must have faced other people, right? Dwayne Porter, Western Light, Lone Wolf. I think he's faced Prophecy or something. He's faced somebody. I don't know. But it's interesting who we see at the end of the night or near the end of the night because it wasn't at the end of the night, but I'll get into that later. I just like how they're building Alexander Rotten up as a powerhouse, a man that you want to beat, a man that nobody has been able to stop and that everybody is gunning for just to be able to be the one to say, I'm the one who stopped Alexander Rotten. And now it's made even more dangerous now that Alexander Rotten, not only proving, unlike Seth Rollins in the WWE, that he can win a match on his own, but now he's got help. So if he needs help, he's got it. And it's not like it's just JMJ security. He's got the Extreme Champion Hernasli, who's not tall. He's average height, but is built like a machine. And you've got Amor, who's just willing to throw himself over the rope, throw himself at the top rope, throw himself off the turnbuckle, do all these high-risk aerial maneuvers, being able to lock you into a submission if he really fucking needs to, gets hold of all these grappling techniques, and can play by the rules and doesn't have to, and plays by the rules and doesn't play by the rules, depending on whether he just fucking feels like it or not. I always like that type of momentum or mentality when it comes to performers. And that leads us into the first match of the night, which is a number one contenders match for the International Championship. James defeated Seth. Fine. I don't care. It was to be honest, I would have hoped their rivalry or their feud would have ended at Capital Carnage and we didn't see another match because I don't know. But we get a final match on Intensity, and that is James winning. So we get James versus Ash for the International Championship at Top Rope. So throughout the night, and I'll give some spoilers right now, we have a USW Championship match. We're gonna have a USW World Heavyweight Championship match. We're probably going to have a Blue Belt Championship match. We're going to have an International Championship match. We're probably going to have a USW Tag Team Championship match. And we're going to have 2 grudge matches, as well as a top rope match, which is 8 or 9 matches in total for a 3-hour pay-per-view, with its real main event taking about an hour to finish, at most. Or near an hour at most. Maybe at least 30 to 45 minutes, which means you have at most 2 hours and 15 minutes, 2 hours and 30 minutes to get all of your other shit done. And usually the top rope match lasts about an hour. So you've got 2 hours, average time, to finish 7 other matches. So I have a feeling top rope is going to be a little bit underwhelming. And I think most of the matches are going to go by really quickly. Or they're just going to go over time. But I don't know. Anyway, Ash then goes on the Motiontron, warns James that he is walking into a fight he cannot win. James picks up a microphone, tells Ash that he has no care on who it is who he is facing, but there is always a way to win a fight that has odds pointed against you, warning Ash that he should not take him lightly. That's fine. I've heard the promo a million times, but I'm fine with it. It brings character to James, showing that he is determined and he thinks and feels that he is capable of accomplishing whatever is pitched against him, which is cool. Self-determination, self-confidence, cool. And we get into another promo. Kyle Reese announces that there will be 2 number 1 contenders matches to find out who will fight for the vacant World Heavyweight Championship at Top Rope. Western Light walks out, telling Kyle Reese that he wants to take part in the Top Rope match, and if he were to win, he wanted a match against the World Heavyweight Champion at Bulletproof. Reese grants Western Light his requests and introduces the next match. So that was somewhat of a mediocre ending, and we go from Western Light losing to Alexander Rotten at Capital Carnage, losing the World Heavyweight Championship, to wanting to fight in the Top Rope match. And then, at best, getting the World Heavyweight Championship back in November, when he has a championship rematch at his hands. Although I'm not really sure if you can count that because, whoever he lost to doesn't have a title. It's vacant, so he would have to face Alexander Rotten just to be able to have the title back again, which would be stupid and pointless to Capital Carnage. And sometimes wrestling logic doesn't make sense, and sometimes there's really no way to walk around that logic, whatever. And we go to the second match, which is a number 1 contenders match for the World Heavyweight Championship. Winner faces the winner of the main event at Top Rope for the World Heavyweight Championship. First match, Dustin Raymond beats Rain with a roll-up pin. Fucking shit. Then he gets on the microphone, addressing the crowd. He's walking out of Ultimate Showcase Wrestling with the World Heavyweight Championship. He's already established that when his contract runs out, he's leaving. So it's going to be interesting to see what they're going to do. usually in these type of situations, you would think, I don't know, what Dustin Raymond's going to job out in his final match against Prophecy for the World Heavyweight Championship. Right now, I don't know how to feel. I mean, I think it'd be interesting if Dustin Raymond walked away with the USW World Heavyweight Championship, but I think it'd be interesting if he lost and pretty much handed down the torch to the performer I will name later. I just feel like if Dustin Raymond leaves and then comes back with the USW World Heavyweight Championship just to, I guess, defend it on occasion, or just to gloat that he's the champion, not defend it necessarily, I don't know. Giving Dustin Raymond the World Heavyweight Championship belt would give you opportunity to do something like a CM Punk, where it's an angle where you leave the promotion and then you come back just to defend the title a couple times, different from CM Punk, or you just come back until you lose the title, or you just have Dustin Raymond take the title and you have the USW Championship as your major championship for a little while. I don't care. It's interesting. I'm hoping that we see we see a good outcome from Top Rope, especially with the World Heavyweight Championship match. And that's it. We get an interview with Majigeta about why he attacked Lone Wolf, responding that no one defeats him, and walks away without getting some sort of bad luck, I guess, or consequence coming towards them. Cool. Third match, Double XL defeats Capital. Woohoo. With a Samoan drop. Then we get Weiler cutting a promo about Zach Hardy not being able to, or not going. Weiler cuts a promo, tells the crowd that Zach Hardy is not going to be a top star in USW after he asks this question. Will Zach Hardy face him at Top Rope 2015, but in an unsanctioned match where there would be nothing stopping him from ripping Hardy apart? So in ways, he's saying, all right, so Zach Hardy, and I'm talking about myself in the third person. Who gives a shit? Unless it's a pet peeve. In that case, sorry. But Weiler's pretty much saying Zach Hardy is a top star in USW, but by asking this question and the response of Zach Hardy being, I accept, Weiler will make sure that Zach Hardy is not able to show up in USW again, will not show up in USW again, and therefore will not be the top star. That's fine, but it seems as though we're walking away from something that could be amazing, whereas Weiler is just looking to take away the fire that Enigma has, or fire that Zach Hardy has burning inside in that Enigma chamber, that chamber holding Enigma back. I think that'd be interesting, and it'd be somewhat appealing, and it would bring a lot of awareness to Weiler's character, always staying steps and steps and steps ahead of Zach Hardy, and always playing these mind games and just getting him to go insane, and then having that cost him at their match. But instead, we're walking away from that, and it seems as though it's just like Weiler's holding a grudge against Zach Hardy for some fucking reason. It's not like I stole Weiler's spot in USW. It's not like I stole his momentum. It's not like he was a top star at one point and I am just now, the new star of Ultimate Showcase Wrestling. That's not the case. He showed up a few weeks ago, maybe a month or two ago, and is now holding a grudge against me for some reason. We have such a great opportunity here to play off Weiler's character, to play off Weiler's mindset, and we're just shoving it aside. And I don't like that. And I think Weiler's going to go very underappreciated if you continue with this. So let's hope things change. Match number 4, USW Tag Team Champions Ezra Kills and Benny Franklin defeat the Blackout by the Whiplash. Ezra Kills and Benny Franklin celebration cut short when the Northern Lights, Blaine and Samuel North, yes, the next pair of Ferocity members to be joining the main roster, or the Intensity roster, interrupt them and ask them for a match at Top Rope 2015 for the tag team titles. Hills gets on the microphone I hope that bug didn't go down my throat or something like that. Excuse me. Anyway, excuse me. Hills gets on the microphone, tells them that if they win their match next week on Intensity, they can have a title match, which is stupid because I get that Blaine and Samuel North were an interesting tag, or they were a tag team in the Frosty roster, but now it's just showing that teams like Gringo and Fernandez and Indigo Reaction and the Blackout that have history in USW are taking a back seat to just two new guys that came up and asked for a tag team title match, and they're pretty much getting one because they asked for a tag team title or the match, or they're getting the opportunity because they asked for it, which is just stupid. Shows stupidity. Then Crimson Red cuts a promo, which is interesting because you don't usually see Crimson Red with a promo, sending a message to Hern Astley, a direct message, telling Hern Astley that he will not, or he will wait until No Regret to put in his rematch because he challenges Hern Astley to meet him in the top rope match, which is interesting. Okay, I guess you send fuel to the fire, but here's the thing you're not playing out. What happens if Crimson Red wins the top rope match? Not necessarily saying he will, because he probably won't, but taking into account, what happens if Crimson Red, excuse me, were to win the top rope match? Because you got to take kayfabe into account. And if Crimson Red were to win the top rope match, then, correct me if I'm wrong, why would he need to go after the Extreme title? Yeah, he's got to wait till Bulletproof in November to get a rematch, or to get a world title match, and No Regret is in October. Excuse me. But why would he gun for the Extreme Championship, right, the lowest secondary championship in the promotion, and then right after go for the world title? And then if he loses to Hern Astley, which he more than likely will at No Regret, he's just going into a world title match because he outlasted 19 others in a match. It's stupid. And we enter the fifth match. Titanfall beating Blue Belt champion Anarchy via submission with a stranglehold. And then Anarchy turns Titanfall into the chaos and holds up the Blue Belt title. So it looks like as though Titanfall is gunning for, or excuse me, Titanfall is now being, I don't know, shown off by the Blue Belt champion, which makes it feel as though we're going to get Titanfall versus Anarchy for the Blue Belt championship at top rope. That hasn't been confirmed yet. We are still waiting on that, but it seems as though this is what we're getting, which is fine. I don't care. I don't mind, but I don't know. I just like the fact that they're doing something different, and it's not just like, oh, no, World Contenders match. Oh, well, rematch clause. Oh, you seem like a good candidate. How do we put you in a match? Excuse me, we'll have you ask for a match, and then we'll have you beat a jobber or something like that. It's stupid, but whatever. Excuse me. And we get into the second hour. Yes, I've started listing the hours now. Awesome. And then we get me, Zach Hardy, appearing on the Motiontron to kick off the second hour, and I accept Wilder's challenge for an unsanctioned match at Top Rope 2015. Cool. Sixth match. USW champion Alexander Rotten defeats Greyhound with, again, the Samoan drop. And then Alexander Rotten walks to the ramp, excuse me, before being met at the top of the stage by the Martin brothers, okay, who walk down and start to brawl with Alexander Rotten before Rotten turns into a super kick by Alex Martin. And then Reese tells the crowd that at USW Top Rope 2015, Alexander Rotten will defend the USW Championship against Alex Martin and George Martin in a three-ways match. Sorry, excuse me. Okay, so throughout the night, we've gotten Dustin Raymond now already in a world championship match when he lost to Amor the previous show. And then we get the Martin brothers earning a USW championship match when they lost a tag team championship match the fucking time before. It's stupid. whatever. And then we get a promo. It's an interview with Dustin Raymond about who he feels is a better opponent for top rope, either Prophecy or Dwayne Porter. Raymond tells Roseline, the interviewer, that he doesn't care who it is he will face. He only cares about walking out with the gold around his waist. Cool. Seventh match on the card, Simon Saint defeated Ferocity performer Unity via submission with a coat hanger. One quick question. Why the fuck is Unity on the main roster? I mean, I can understand Weiler. He's an uprising star, and he can be intriguing to the Intensity roster. Excuse me. And I can understand the Northern Lights because they are an advanced tag team more than the other tag teams on the Northern Lights. Excuse me. Or on the Frosty roster. But why the why the fuck would Unity be brought up? Excuse me. I think sooner or later he's going to lose that Frosty performer name or moniker and be brought up to the Intensity roster just to be a jobber, because that's excuse me, that's all Greyhound has been used for. That's all Lane has been used for. That's all fucking shit. DHIG has been used for. That's all Rain has been used for. Whatever. Cool, I guess. No, not cool. Stupid. Now we can add Unity to that. Cool. No, stupid. And then Simon Saint is approached by Kyle Reese, who then tells Simon Saint, for some reason, he's been inserted into the 2015 top rope match. What the fuck? So Western Light gets a shot at the fucking top rope match just because he asked for it, and he lost the world title the night or the fucking pay-per-view before that. And then Simon Saint gets put into the match just because we have nothing else for you. And we'll bring you out from the others that are in into the top rope match, or from most of the others that are in the top rope match, and we'll just have you be inserted on programming. Whatever, I don't give a fuck. It's stupid. Makes no sense. And then we get a promo with Prophecy cutting a segment, planning on walking out tonight, cementing his place in the World Championship picture, and then plans on walking out of Hartford, Connecticut and Top Rope 2015 as the new World Heavyweight Champion. Then we get another promo where Morbid talks about how he wants not to just defeat Washington, but kick his ass without second thought and without consequence. Washington interrupts Morbid, so at this point in time, we get a split screen on the Motiontron where Morbid's up here and Washington's down here, and they're just talking back and forth. Washington goes on, says, he wants to fight. He can face him at top rope, make the match a stipulation that would be fitting for that kind of match or that kind of environment. They threw out, a barbed wire massacre match, a Texas death match. They threw out a Ring of Fire match. They threw out a no holds barred match, and they of course settled on the no holds barred match. Morbid accepts, reminds Washington that he has never defeated him before cutting off his broadcast signal, which just shows it just makes Washington even angrier now that he's been reminded that he could not beat Morbid at any other point. He's never beaten Morbid, which is cool, and it just brings more intrigue and brings more fuel to the fire when it comes to this feud, which I like. And then we get into the fucking 8th match, excuse me, and it's the main event, #1 contenders match for the World Heavyweight Championship. Winner faces Dustin Raymond at Top Rope 2015 for the World Heavyweight Championship. Prophecy beats Dwayne Porter with a fireman's carry into a neck cradle DDT. Prophecy has his hand raised before Dustin Raymond walks down to the ring, hits a spear on Prophecy before standing, looking around at the crowd, with a look in his eye, just squinting, shows that he's serious. He has, he wants to walk out of USW with one of its biggest prizes. And it's interesting. You've never seen that kind of a look out of Dustin Raymond. Not even as a heel. He had a cold, dark, sinister look to him, which is just interesting, and it's intriguing. And it still makes no sense that Prophecy gets a match for the World Heavyweight Championship. All right, so the World Championship match at Top Rope 2015 is settled. Prophecy, wait for it. Prophecy, who lost to Anarchy for the Blue Belt Championship at Capital Carnage, now gets a World Heavyweight Championship match at Top Rope 2015. And Dustin Raymond, who lost to Amor at Capital Carnage 2015, gets a World Heavyweight Championship match at Top Rope 2015. Nevertheless, Dustin Raymond versus Prophecy will be an interesting match. It'll be great. It'll probably be great. They both are amazing performers, have chemistry with almost everyone they come in touch with, and I think it'll be a great match. I just don't like the way that Wednesday Night Intensity came out. I think I think Capital Carnage was a lot better than Wednesday Night Intensity, um, which is it's kind of hard in me for USW. I mean, I know a lot of people, excuse me, with like the WWE or TNA would think, oh, the pay per view, of course, is going to be always going to be better than the main show because you know it culminates on all these championship matches and all these match types and all that. But with USW, it's different because, excuse me, Intensity is prided on being a show where story is told, and that's where all of the booking and build up to that pay-per-view is built up. And then the pay-per-view is just executed with the matches coming up, and then segments based off of that night's events, and then number of things that build into the next Intensity. So everything, it's not like Intensity is all built around the pay-per-view. It's more like the pay-per-view is built around Intensity. Intensity builds stories up. And when it comes to that pay-per-view, the stories that are built up on Intensity are filled out in a match, excuse me, culminated at that pay-per-view from Intensity. And then you have segments that only either show shit from that night's pay-per-view or event, or something that builds up into the next Intensity. And just like Washington interrupting Morbid's match at Capital Carnage, that moves into a story that's told on the following intensities. So it's kind of like a soap opera. Or even TV shows, every single regular show, maybe with the exception of the season premiere and the season finale, just build up. Even the season premiere and everything forward just builds up to the the season finale or the series finale. Not necessarily in the chronological order, like shows like I don't know, NCIS or Law and Order. Those are pretty much just episodic shows. One episode deals with this, another episode deals with that, another episode deals with this. It all flip flops, but there are a lot of shows like soap operas that all build up. I shouldn't use soap operas because they really don't usually have a season finale. But just imagine soap operas did. Every single show or every single episode of the soap opera leads up to that season finale, and it all just culminates from one giant story coming to a head at that one big event. In this case, the season finale represents a pay-per-view, and all the shows beforehand represent Intensity. So it's more like the pay-per-views are built around Intensity, and that's why it's so hard for you to say, oh, that pay-per-view was so much better than Intensity because it was a pay-per-view. Usually fans of USW think of Intensity being better than pay-per-views because that's where the story comes into play. And USW is prided and is really known for building up stories. Well, at least ever since they've gone off of the complete filler matches and just focused on story matches or stories. It's just been interesting, and I've loved the way that USW and Intensity have progressed into becoming the main shit. So yeah, this time I'm gonna have to say Capital Carnage was better than Intensity, because Intensity, yeah, it had some parts where it built up something interesting, and even the world title match was interesting, but there were very few parts that played off of Capital Carnage very well. Most parts, though, of Intensity played off Capital Carnage in a stupid and I don't know, fucking beginner's way, rookie way. I don't know. I don't know. Throughout Intensity, I was sitting there and I watched Intensity over because, of course, I'm in Hartford when it comes to Intensity, unless I'm not booked for that show, which is very, very rarely, unless I'm on vacation or, of course, I'm injured. But I always end up going back and rewatching the show when it airs from 9 to 11 p.m. And when I watched this show, the matches just made me think of how little sense it makes from what you built off of Capital Carnage. Like James beating Seth. Okay, you could have ended that feud at Capital Carnage, but no, you ended that one last feud with a stipulation, which is fine, but it doesn't solve anything. So now you've just got James facing Ash for no reason. I mean, yeah, he won at Capital Carnage, which is a step up from everything else, but then you walk into Dustin Raymond getting a world title match, beating a jobber. At this point in time, Reign is a jobber, and get a world title match after he lost to Amore. Double XL and Capital, excuse me. I guess the only thing different besides that was Double XL versus Capital versus Zach Hardy's no more. It's just Double XL versus Capital. Fine, that's I guess a good kickoff match. It's like the Randy Orton versus Sheamus of the USW. You get Weiler and Zach Hardy, which I think was a little underbooked and was a little underlooked as well. Underbooked and underlooked. Excuse me. The tag team title matches. This is probably the worst of all. You know, the Northern Lights just show up and ask for a title match. They get an opportunity, and they're more than likely going to take that opportunity and run to the bank with it. Titanfall and Anarchy, probably the best thing about this show. You got some point across. Alexander Rodden versus the Martin Brothers. I guess that's an interesting non-main event type shit. Cool, I guess. Simon Saint versus Unity, just stupid and pointless. And then I guess I don't fucking know. Are they building Simon Saint up to winning the top rope match? I don't fucking know. You told me nothing with Simon Saint. Not even with him being inserted into the top rope match. Why is he being inserted into the top rope match? Why does Kyle Reese feel the need to show up to a match with a mid-card performer and put that person on the spot and say, you're in this match. I'm booking you in this spot. Take it or leave it. Take it and run with it. But you told me no story there, which is very amateurish. Morbid cutting a promo, Washington cutting a promo, Washington versus Morbid in a no-holds-barred match at Top Rope, which is the only other normal match, non-title match, besides Zach Hardy versus Weiler and what was it, a fucking unsanctioned match or something like that? And then the main event, Prophecy gets a world title match because, I don't fucking know, he lost to... Who the fuck did he lose to? He lost to Anarchy. Didn't win the Blue Belt Championship. I'm going to go for the World Heavyweight Championship. And the winner of my match can just stick to the mid-card while I boost up to the fucking main event spot. And speaking of that shit, why did Dwayne Porter even get the chance to fight, or the chance at an opportunity to fight for the World Heavyweight Championship? Let me go back in my notes here. What did Dwayne Porter do at Capital Carnage? Let's see. Oh yeah, he lost. He lost to Ash for the International Championship. So the main event featured two performers gunning for a main event title, whereas both performers lost a mid-card match at the previous pay-per-view. One lost to a territorial championship. The other one lost for a mid-card championship. It's stupid, and it makes no sense, and I'm sad. Alright, that's it. I'm done. I'm done ranting. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Quick plugs. Follow me on Twitter at Zachary Serra, at ZACHARY SERRA. If you have any questions for the Hardy Yak Wrestling Podcast or any wrestling-related questions for the Hardy Yak Wrestling Podcast or any non-wrestling-related questions for the Hardy Yak Question and Answer series, send them to unitards@gmail.com. That is unitards with 2 Z's at the end at gmail.com. Excuse me. And I will get to them in a future episode if they're appropriate and if I haven't answered them before. And, of course, subscribe to Hardiak, the Hardiak channel. HARDYAC. You'll see my picture in the whatever. It's my picture. It's my fucking face. Do with that what you will. And thank you guys for watching. That was my review. Well, that was my thoughts on Capital Carnage, USW Capital Carnage, USW Capital Carnage 2015, and my Wednesday Night Intensity September 2nd, 2015 review. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Remember to like, favorite, and subscribe for more. I'm Zach Hardy, signing off.